Welcome back to the Tool Crib. On the advice of some of my viewers, I picked up this beautiful knife. This is the Victorinox Pioneer, and I have found myself liking this Alox version knife a lot. So this is a 93mm knife, and for comparison's sake, I'm going to bring in a couple of different multi-tools. So first of all, this is the Classic. You can see that it is quite a bit bigger, and now we have the money clip, which is one of my favorites actually. I really like that knife a lot. And then we have the Deluxe Tinker that we're going to put beside it, and you can see that the Deluxe Tinker is a 91mm, but the Pioneer's a 93. It's just a touch longer, but you can see it's quite a bit narrow. There's Alox version tools are really nice. And for those that want to compare it more towards multi-tools, here we have the Leatherman Juice S2, and next to that we're going to have the Wave Plus. So you can see it's a little bit shorter. There we go. A little bit shorter than what the Wave Plus will be. And then my personal favorite, the big Leatherman Surge. So this is actually a really, really nice knife to carry. Bunch of things that I like about it. We're going to talk about them right now. Let's get through the specs real quick. As we mentioned before, this is a 93mm knife. 93mm is going to translate to 3 5/8 of an inch in overall length. The width on it, the full width, is going to be about 7/8 of an inch or about 22mm. It's only 9/16 of an inch thick though, and that's about 14mm. So it's a very, very good carry. The first thing we're going to look at is the knife blade, and this one I really like. This is kind of a perfect size EDC knife blade for me. This is about a 2.5 inch. I like my knife blades to be, on these smaller tools, at least a minimum of 2.5 inches and up to about 3 or 3.25 inches long. This one is exactly 2.5 inches or about 63.5mm. Now I'm going to bring in, this is the Deluxe Tinker, and we're going to pull out its knife blade for comparison. And you can see that well, I got some fingerprints on that. The Pioneer is just built more robust. These Alox version tools are just built a bit more robust than their regular counterparts. And if we look at the spine of this, you can see that it is built quite a bit thicker as well. So that knife blade is a really, really nice knife blade. I've also noticed one thing about this is that the spring back on these tools, on these Alox version, are really tight. I really like how snappy that is. Some of the others, they're okay. I mean, they have decent spring back, but you can tell that it does not have the same tension as what you're going to find in the Pioneer. So that's really nice actually. I really like how that feels really, really stable. Now they're still slip joint, and so you can still collapse them, but they are a lot harder to close. Now, interesting tool that's on a couple of the different Alox version is the awl that they put in here. So the awl has a broke piece to it, and it also has the cut edge here. It does not have a sewing eyelet, but I've used this awl a little bit, and I actually like this awl quite a little bit. I think it works well on the end of a knife like this, as opposed to in most Victorinox where you're going to get it in that T fashion. And we'll just bring that Deluxe Tinker in here real quick to look at that real quick. So you can see that the awl on here is quite a bit more robust than what you're going to get on your standard Victorinox knives. I really, really like that. Now the next tool, and the reason that I wanted this is basically the largest medium-sized Victorinox knife that you can get in the slimmer package. Let me say that again. I was looking for a knife that included scissors but was not 4 and 5 layers deep, and the Pioneer is one of the slimmest is the right word, slimmest 92 or 91 or 93mm knife that you can get that is going to have scissors included. Now, one thing about this is, and I had to get used to this, is normally your nail nick is on the front side on your scissors, but on the Pioneer it's on the back here, so it's a little different to get to, but you just have to get accustomed to that. Now, I love the full-size Victorinox scissors. These things are just phenomenal. We'll just put a little bit of paracord up here, and you can see just how awesome those things are. That's one of the things that I really wanted, was a slimmer Victorinox knife that includes these very, very nice scissors, and the Pioneer X has those on there. Now the next two tools are pretty well standard, but they're a little bit beefier than what we're going to get with the regular tools, and we're just going to bring the others in here to compare it to. they're a little thicker. So it's basically the same design for the can opener, screwdriver combination, or excuse me, bottle opener, screwdriver, and this is also the I used to call it wire bender, but I guess it's a wire stripper, and the idea behind that is you leave it in this up position, set your wire in there, and then rest the blade against it. The problem is, and then you rotate it to clip off the insulation. I find it very, very cumbersome to use that feature. It just doesn't work well for me, and maybe others know how to do it better than I do, and I'm just not accustomed to it. I just have never been good at it, and I don't think it works well on these knives. Now, one thing about the flat driver, the large flat driver, also doubles as a pry tool, by the way. And this one, even more so than its regular Victorinox counterparts, because it is built a little bit thicker. These are very, 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 very good screwdrivers. I like the fact that they snap in into the 90-degree position too, so that you can get a little bit more torque. They also extend out to the full position as well. And like I mentioned before, the springs on here, let's just pull this in here real quick. So you can kind of see that, with the exception of, which is it, the pliers there, you could see that the springs on here are really built a lot better on these than they are on the standard Victorinox. Now the next tool, or the last tool actually that we have on here, is also a combination tool. You use your Victorinox Can Opener with the little micro driver on the end. Now this one only snaps into the full open position. It does not have a 90-degree rest for it, but nonetheless, very good tool. Victorinox can openers are really well done. I still prefer Leatherman's Eagle Claw. If you watch any of my videos, you'll know that. But the Victorinox can openers work really, really well. Also includes the little key ring loop here as well. Now, one thing about the Alox version is the Alox version does not include an outer scale like you're going to find in your standard Victorinox knife, where you have the outer scale here. And this helps lend it to being a thinner profile knife. Now, what you do lose is you lose all the outer tools that are in the scales themselves. So no tweezers, no toothpick, no pin, no straight pin, any of that. It's a sacrifice you have to make to have a little bit slimmer design. I actually prefer this Alox version of Victorinox's tools as opposed to their regular version knives, because their regular version knives are great knives. The problem is they just scuff up so easily. Now, a lot of people like how they wear in. I just prefer the Alox version. I think these are built more robust. They feel better in the hand. I like the grip pattern they have on the aluminum. They're very nice knives overall. And again, it's easy to determine right away the first time you open this up that those springs hold those implements and the knives back a lot. They're a lot beefier, a lot crisper. I like how this feels more solid than your standard Victorinox knife, and it's just a beautiful little blade too. Now, Victorinox knife blades are not going to retain their sharpness. It's just the nature of the beast. They use a softer steel. It's more on par with Leatherman's 420HC. The 420HC is actually a little bit better knife blade, but they're just not going to hold an edge. So you will have, if you use it for any length of time, you're going to have to sharpen it up. The beauty of these is that they're very easy to sharpen up, and most anybody can do it, put a fantastic edge on them right away again. So this is the Victorinox Pioneer, a fantastic little knife that I think the main reason I like it so much is because of those scissors. I'm going to leave some links below for this knife, and you can see that's a very robust there. That is the Victorinox Pioneer, and a knife that I find myself liking quite a bit. My name is Ben, and you've been watching the Texas Tool Crib and my overview of the Victorinox Pioneer. I can't wait to use this thing and get back to you guys and let you know what I really think about it. But first impressions are, this is a fabulous, fabulous pocket knife. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.